everyone. Good evening, flock. Come on in, sit down, relax, enjoy yourself. Welcome to the show. We are going to have a great time tonight. We have a lot to talk about. The Ravens have been active these last couple of days, and I just want to get in here and talk about it. They've been making some moves, and I, for one, am very pleased with some of the moves, and it left me with some question marks as a result of some of the other moves. So we'll just kind of sit down and chat. Let's do that. All right. Good evening, Nana. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. I hope you're well. Brandon Bazel is in the building. Hola to you. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Thursday. But we're one step closer to the weekend and it's almost Friday. I'm happy about that. But let's start right with what the Ravens have done over the last couple of days. And I have my little notepad here. So if I'm looking down, it's because I wrote some notes. First thing I want to start with is the Morgan Moses trade. The Ravens traded Morgan Moses to the Jets. And what they did is they moved up in the draft. So they basically did a swap in the fourth round. So I think we moved up in exchange for Morgan Moses, and we also get a sixth round pick for Morgan. This one came as a bit of a surprise to me, and I'll tell you why. Because going into this offseason, the main thing that concerned me was the offensive line. That was primarily what I said. This Ravens offense, the O-line needs some help, okay? It needs some work. And to swap Morgan Moses and to let him go. And I know that Morgan is probably not the best offensive lineman, but finding a suitable replacement for him is my only question mark. That's where it gets a little bit, that's where I get a little antsy, okay? When we're talking about protection for Lamar Jackson, I want to know that, and I hope and I believe, and I'm going to say it this way, I'm going to put my confidence and I'm going to rely on EDC to make the right move. I'm believing that EDC has something, that he's working on something for Lamar Jackson in terms of O-line. So this one did come as a bit of a surprise for me. And PFF over the last 4 years, so since 2020, Morgan Moses has been graded an 84.6 overall and an 88.4 in run blocking. That's his grade for the last 4 years. And while that seems to be outstanding, I know certainly that Morgan Moses was not excellent. He wasn't. But he was, for the most part, reliable. This is someone who I was a little concerned with the fact that we lost him. Not super concerned as long as I know that EDC is saying, if we let him go, if we trade him to the Jets, if he's now a Jet, I still have a plan to bring someone who is at least comparable, but preferably better than Morgan Moses. So that's where I'm going to leave that. My big question now, like I said before, who's going to replace him? Who will replace Morgan Moses? That's the question for me. Will it be someone in free agency because I don't know of a replacement? Or will we probably just wait until the draft and draft an offensive lineman? By the way, I hope you all have a beverage of choice. I'm sipping on some hot tea tonight. But the next big move from the Ravens, the restructuring of Ronnie Stanley's contract. Let's talk about that. The Ravens were in a position where they needed to free up cap space. And how they were able to do it at the very last minute, they were they figured it, they found a way. And it certainly started with the restructuring of Ronnie Stanley's contract. And it's more now a performance based contract. It's also more incentivized based on his availability. And we all know that Ronnie Stanley, before his injury, was the he was it for his position, left tackle. He was it. But since his injuries, he just hasn't been the same. And we all know that. We know that continuing to believe that Ronnie Stanley will be the Ronnie Stanley of old or even a shell of himself of what he used to be, it's probably not going to happen, right? But with the new restructuring of his contract and having it more performance based and availability based, hopefully Ronnie will be incentivized to do whatever it takes to make a full rehab, a full return, a full recovery, and come back this year better than he's been the last few years. Because, even with the time that he's taken off when he was injured and even when he was rehabbing from his injury, since he's come back, he still misses quite a few games. There are still times where the coaches have to, and I don't know if they have to do it, like rotation, like put him on a rotation. It could be, but not necessarily. But the bottom line is we all know that Ronnie Stanley is a good player. Just that injury and that nagging setbacks that he's had over the last couple of years has been worrisome. So as long as we can get a little bit more production out of Ronnie this year, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be fine. Nana says she believes that we're going to address the O-line in practice squad or the draft. Who do we have on practice squad? Who are you thinking could come in and take and really be ready come August or come September when we play our first game? Who do you think it could be? Because I really don't know of anyone on our practice squad who I would say at this point. Now, we still have 6 more months before the start of the season, so anything's possible. He keeps getting overpaid on this contract. Yeah, I understand you, Brandon. I feel you on that. He does seem to always get a little bit more than what he needs to, but I was pleased that this one at least is more of an incentive based, whereas before it was more guaranteed money. So I'm happy in that regard. And we'll see, right? We'll see. Is he available? Is he able to play? Is he playing at a high level? All of that's going to be a factor in, him earning his money this year. So I'm happy that they restructured and reworked it the way they did. And it's now putting the onus, putting the burden, the responsibility on Ronnie Stanley to perform. If you don't produce, that's your money that you're losing out on. Songstress for real. Thank you so much for coming by. Good evening to you. I hope you're doing well. We're just talking about the recapping the last couple of days in Ravens moves that they've made to try and free up some cap space and how we feel about what EDC has done to kind of address some of the glaring needs of our team. Another move that should not have been a surprise, it wasn't a surprise to me, was we released Tyus Bowser. This one was selfishly, I wanted Tyus Bowser to stay. I know that Tyus has not been on the field, and whatever happened between he and the coaching staff, the front office, none of us know. But whatever it was, I was hoping, knowing that it probably wouldn't happen, but I was hoping that he could stay because Tyus was a good player. Tyus is a very good player. And I, for one, wanted him to remain here as a Raven, knowing full well it wasn't going to happen. So, there was clear discord between he and the Ravens, and, it probably would not have been a good fit long term and down the line So it's probably best that the two parted ways. Unfortunately, I wanted to see him stay because I know that he wanted to be a Raven. He wanted to be here. He made it clear. And unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. Songstress for Real says it's concerning. Lamar's blind side must be protected. Yes, indeed. That is huge. His blind side is paramount, okay, to Lamar's success. Having that wall built around him is incredibly important. And it's something that I'm trying to be patient, right? I'm trying to not be too anxious and try to just kind of say, okay, let's wait. Let's really believe that EDC is going to shore up this line. He's going to bring in those players who are able to protect Lamar, give him time to read the field, survey, go through his reads and his progressions, and give the receivers an opportunity to get open to run their routes. I'm hoping that we do, because right now, who do we have as like that surefire O lineman? Tyler Linderbaum. That's it. Because Kevin Zeitler's a free agent, and we haven't heard any signings or any rumblings that we're bringing him back. And we have Ronnie Stanley. That's it. So yes, I'm with you. It is very concerning. We really need to look into protection for Lamar, and that needs to be priority number one. Another move that the Ravens have made recently, and that was yesterday, they re-signed Brent Urban to another 1-year deal. And this one was, it was okay for me. I like Brent Urban. I think he's good. So I was okay with it. I wasn't too disappointed in this. Hearing the news of bringing back Brent Urban, it didn't really bother me too much. So that's right. Other teams see the weaknesses in the O line and take advantage of it. That's correct. That is something that if these other teams are finding a way to like literally take advantage of our weakness, that's a problem. Okay, that's a huge problem. So, and what I'm hoping comes from this is that we really took a hard look at where we were as an offense last season, but not just the season, into the postseason, and how we performed in the postseason, and specifically that AFC championship. We've got to do better. Collectively, as a team, we must improve. There's just no way around that. We have to improve. So Nana says, excuse me, Tyus' problem was availability. That was a huge issue. Agreed. And they say, we all know the saying, we've heard it, the best ability is availability. And if Tyus is not there, if he's not available, if his injury is such that there's swelling or scar tissue or whatever was going on with, an aggravation of the injury that kept him from being able to play, then we have to move on. And like I said, it was selfish because I just happened to really like Tyus as a player. I did. And I thought he was a really good fit. I felt like he complemented the Ravens defense. He was a very complimentary piece for me, and I wanted him to stay. I know it's not possible to keep everyone. We had 25 free agents going into the offseason. Realistically, we couldn't bring everybody back. We couldn't. But Tyus was one of the ones I was holding out just a sliver of hope. And Nana says, if Zeitler doesn't get any bites, he may come back. I think so too. I think Zeitler may, the likelihood of him coming back, I think, is great. If he's willing to sign a team-friendly deal, vet minimum, something like that, I do think Zeitler would be back. But in the event he's not, my question is, EDC, who do we have on deck to replace him, right? Who are we thinking? can come in and replace Kevin Zeitler. And when I say replace, just me, this is me. When I say we are replacing a person, a player, I want to see that next player. I want to see them in terms of their contribution, in terms of their play. I want it to be a step above what we're replacing them with. So if we are replacing Kevin Zeitler, the next person coming in needs to play at least at Kevin Zeitler's level or better, in my opinion. Don't replace him with someone who's not even comparable to him. Don't replace him with someone who is an even weaker link. It takes me back to Villanueva. I won't even go there because a couple of years ago, that was a nightmare for us all as Ravens fans, and we still remember that. So, but that's my point. Who are we bringing in? Please don't wait to the last minute. Have a plan. Have a plan A. If your plan A doesn't work, have a plan B, because Lamar's safety out there on the field is too crucial to fumble. It's too crucial to botch. We need to get it right. Thanks for joining, Ed. Good evening. I hope you're well. You don't think Zeitler comes back. They want more athletic linemen. Okay, fair point. If Zeitler does not come back, Ed, who do you think will replace him? Will it be someone in free agency, or are we just going to wait until the draft and try to replace him at that point? Because, like I mentioned, this is too serious of a position. To win in football, you've got to start in the trenches. You have to be able to win on both sides of the ball on the trenches. Your trenches matter so much. They affect the game so much. And so if we're not getting Zeitler back, who's coming in? Yes, agreed. Nana agrees. She's saying we must do better in postseason games. Everyone from top to bottom. That goes from the leadership all the way down to the last member on that roster. You win as a team, you lose as a team. And right now is no time for me to be pointing fingers. We failed collectively. And so I did a video about a week or two ago about John Harbaugh and accountability matters. It does. It certainly does. And what I'm looking for as a fan is I want answers. But not only do I want answers as to why we deviate from our DNA, why do we change courses? Why do we get out there in the championship, the postseason games, and deviate from what has been effective the entire season? We stray from our identity and we try to get cute, and it backfires. Don't do that. Now that we brought Derrick Henry in, and we'll talk about him in a little bit, but now that we brought Derrick Henry in, my biggest question is, are we going to use him? Not just are we going to use him during the regular season, because that's lovely. But when we are win or go home at that stage, when we are at the postseason and it is do or die, sink or swim, are we going to utilize an effective weapon? And I'm already speaking it into existence that Derrick Henry is going to be healthy. He's going to be that effective player that we know he is. He's going to, stiff arm everyone. The same one that ran over us a few years back, he's going to do that now, but he's just going to be doing it for us and not against us, okay? Songstress for real. She hopes that Voorhees is able to help this year. I do too. And what I do not want us going in to the draft. I don't want us going into the draft and picking up more injured players. Please, even if right now they're healthy, because injuries happen and it's unfortunate. But if something happens between now and the time of the draft and there's an injury, please don't draft them. I don't want this to be another let's draft players who are not ready to contribute. We've done that time and time again, because even at this point, I know it wasn't the case with the two I'm about to name, but I read somewhere, someone may have left a comment that on one of my videos, they said, it's time for our draft picks to contribute. And the person mentioned Pepe Williams, Jalen Armour Davis, Voorhees. So we're picking these individuals who, and we're drafting these players, and we're expecting some type of return on our investment. We're not getting it. David Ajabo, we're not seeing the results, the fruits of our labor. We invested this capital in you, and where's the production? So that really needs to change in my eyes. And I hope EDC is ready to address that. I hope he's ready to not continue to make that mistake, because I do think it's a mistake. Draft players that are healthy, draft players that are ready to contribute, at least, commensurate to where they're picked. If they're a first round pick, draft them according to that. So Nana says, we have some players on the practice squad that may be ready or in the draft to make some good or great draft picks. Hopefully, hopefully. Yeah. And now with the fact that we are probably going to lose several more players in free agency. I know that Clowney is one I don't want to lose. And hopefully he will not. He will not go too far. Hopefully he'll stay a Raven, because I think Clowney was an excellent player for us, and I just think it was a perfect fit. It was like he was just a perfect complement for us. And Clowney, and the same can be said about Van Noy. Same thing. He came straight off the couch and was an instant contributor and changed the effectiveness of the game. So those are two that I would really like to re-sign if possible. But rightfully so, they earned their money. They had monster seasons last year. They have a right to go to the negotiation table and say, no, I don't want a vet minimum. Let me tell you all the reasons why. Look at my stats from last year. Oh, did you see? That was me. Yeah, that was me. I want to get paid. So we would certainly, we would do well if we were able to reach an agreement with them in terms of a contract. But rest assured, we're not bringing all of our guys back. So Nana, I think you're right. It's going to be time for those who are on the practice squad to step up. And if we don't have enough players on the practice squad who we believe in and who we think can actually do the job, then we need to address it in the draft. Living Legend, good evening. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for coming by. Nope, we're going to bypass that. But we'll say hello to Hendo from the Rogue Pod. And I hope you're doing well. Hop on over to Hendo's channel. If you are not subscribed there, you might want to do that, and you can thank me later. But no, we're not talking about OA. We're not. Yes, absolutely. So I think that we need to really circle back to the offensive line. And again, I'm trying to be patient and trying to wait and have faith and have confidence that EDC is going to get it right, because I don't want to waste any more time. I don't want to waste any more of Lamar's years. And the fact that we're now bringing in Derrick Henry, and hopefully we don't stop there. I would like to see us sign a wide receiver, a true number one wide receiver on any team. Any team you put this player on, they would instantaneously be wide receiver number one, because they're just that good. That's what I want. That's what I want for Lamar. I heard something, so this is a little bit different. I saw somewhere on Twitter where it said the possibility, what did you think about the possibility, or they heard rumblings of a swap between the 49ers and the Ravens, Deebo Samuel to the Ravens in exchange for Isaiah Likely to the 49ers. Would you be mad at that? Not saying it's going to happen, not saying that it's written or there's talks between the two teams. I don't know. It was just something I saw yesterday on social media, and I said, Deebo Samuel to the Ravens in exchange for Isaiah Likely to the 49ers. I'm not mad at it. I would not be too terribly mad. Now, while I would prefer Brandon Ayuk, send him over here, but I still think Deebo Samuel is a solid choice too. So that was just something I thought was really interesting. Like, wow, if they brought in Deebo Samuel, that'd be great. Black Daniels, good evening. Thank you for coming by. I hope you're well. And Songstress for Real says, I hope we are not planning to solely rely on developing players. Yes, to replace those players we aren't bringing back. Say that one more time, just a little bit louder now. Yes, that's right. We need solid O linemen to get the job done. We need to get the job done. And I think we need veteran presence in that at the O line. If you want to have a backup player, behind a seasoned, experienced, proven vet, if you want to have a first year player, someone from the practice squad, someone from the draft, you want to have them as a backup. And toward, games where we're blowing teams out by 30, 40 points, because yes, I'm going to speak that into the atmosphere. We're going to do that this upcoming season. And when we are ahead by 30 points, 40 points, if you then want to bring in that rookie to get some playing time, some experience, go right ahead. If you want to then bring in that inexperienced or that person who just doesn't have that time on the field, that's fine. But to set them as a starter, for me, I want the starter at the O-line already ready to go. And I know that we did that with Tyler Linderbaum. We drafted him, brought him in, put all of our eggs in that one basket, and it worked out beautifully. It did. That is wonderful if that happens. But is that the rule or is that the exception? And to me, he's the exception to the rule. It doesn't always work out that way. And when it does not, what is your plan? When you have an inexperienced O lineman who is a like first year rookie, and they're not ready just by virtue of them not playing in the NFL. If they're not ready, then what? We just kind of wait and hope and pray that they'll get ready eventually. Brandon says the Ravens are going to hope someone like Zeitler gets cut during the preseason. Why do you say that? Why do you think that? Why do you think that they're hoping that, that he gets cut? Black Daniel says that the O-line structure is priority number one. Absolutely paramount. It is. There's no way to circumvent that. There's no way around it. I don't care how you shake it. That is absolute priority number one. That's right. Living Legend said Debo is one of his favorite players, so he's a little bit biased. Okay. I mean, I am not here to say that is a thing. I don't want you to be like, well, we heard it on Yolanda's channel that there was a thing. No, it was just something I read, and you take what you read on social media, you take what you see with a grain of salt. And I just said, hey, let me just throw that out there to see how you guys would feel about it. Fingers crossed, we are not still adding linemen in preseason. We cannot afford to do that, because if we wait to the preseason, you are going to get the bottom of the barrel. You are going to get whatever is left over. You're not going to get the cream of the crop. Now, did we have a situation where we just really, and I don't believe in luck, but we really got, we were fortunate. We were blessed in a sense. We waited and we picked up at the very end, going into preseason, we finally picked up Jadeveon Clowney, and then even and Kyle Van Noy. We did. And those two, I don't know if you want to say it's literally because of their experience, how many years in the league they had, under their belts, whatever it was. Okay. Whatever you want to attribute it to, they were instantaneously successful. It did not take them weeks or months to develop, to learn the system, to learn the scheme. They were able to pick up that playbook and run with it. And that's what we need. But if we don't have to wait until nearing the end of the off season, going into the preseason, if we're able to address those gaping holes now, wisdom says, why not? Let's do it. Don Royal, thank you for stopping by. I hope you're doing well. Eagles are out here getting everyone. The Eagles The Steelers, and I was going to talk about this in a little bit, but I'll talk about it now. One question I have, and I'd like to hear from you in the chat. And if you're watching this on replay, thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below. Let me know. What is one player that you do not want to see go to XYZ team? So name a player that you don't want them to go to, a team that you don't want them to go to. I'll start. I don't want to see Justin Jefferson go into the Bengals. That for me, I'd be really, I would probably come on here and live stream just to vent about that. And this is a Ravens channel, but I probably would, because that would bother me so much. I don't want Justin Jefferson in the Bengals camp. It's just, that's the enemy's camp. So no. So yes, you're right, Don Royal. These Eagles out here, they're just getting everybody. Steelers. I told someone earlier today, leave our players alone. Like, Steelers, stop, leave us alone. They really are. The Eagles are just, they're like, we're not going to be stuck anymore. We're coming out of this rut that we found ourselves. So the people who write out contracts, wow, and they're hamstrung. What makes you say that? What makes you say that? Tell me why you think that, Brandon. Yeah, Don Royal said facts about Justin Jefferson. No, I just I would have an instantaneous vent session. That's what I would title the stream, vent session. And anyone who, subscribes to my channel and watches me, I wouldn't even have to put a thumbnail up there of Justin Jefferson's picture going to the Bengals. You would already know, but like, oh, Yolanda's about to vent about this. She's mad. Jefferson is since, that's right. We just can't. We cannot allow that. Ravens, listen, if there is a way to get Justin Jefferson, I don't know how. I don't know what you would have to give up in exchange for him. I mean, certainly at a bare minimum would be like two first-round picks. I don't even think one first round and one second. I think he would command at least a minimum of 2 first rounds, like this year and next year. I think at a minimum you'd have to put that on the table. Brandon says, the way you write a contract gives you ways to move, like Saints are very good at it. Okay. Yeah, that's a decent point there. Yeah. I see Don Royal says we better go get Debo immediately. If that happens, we need Debo. We need, I don't know all the other free agents by name, but whoever else is on the level of a Debo who's a free agent, we need all of them. Whoever else is out there, we need all of them. If Justin Jefferson goes to the Bengals, but let me know if you have a player who you just don't want to see them go to a team. Let me know. That post would go crazy. It sure would. It sure would. Yeah. 2 guests at a minimum. Yeah, I would certainly do that. We'd have, anybody would be welcome, because we'd all be kind of on the same page and we'd all be mad about it. So we would really need to vent. We would all need to vent about it. Another I guess transaction that happened with the Ravens, they released OBJ. Surprised? Nah, not at all. Not at all. I felt like we brought in OBJ. We overpaid for OBJ, and we received very little in return from him. And there was certainly the expectation that OBJ would be ready and available in the postseason to kind of help us over that, the hump. Where was he? Where was he? He wasn't there. So for me, OBJ was just, he just wasn't it. And I'll just say that. I'll just say that. Ed called him trash. We tried, it didn't work. Thanks for the memories. Right. But what are those memories exactly? Like, so I wasn't surprised. I honestly, I wasn't, and I wasn't shocked. It was okay. We released him. He's going to go off, find another team. Yeah, I think I heard that this will probably be his last contract. So he's looking for, to join a team that really can make a run for the Super Bowl. So we'll see. The Ravens today had their opening introductory presser for Derrick Henry. He is officially signed pen to paper and he is now a Raven. How does this signing move the needle for us? Let me know. Tell me your thoughts. Do you think that having Derrick Henry in the backfield will really take our offense to the next level? Do you think that, and I'll even ask a more basic question. Do you even think the Ravens are going to utilize Derrick Henry when it matters? Not just in the regular season, but like we had running backs available in the postseason 2 months ago. We didn't use them, or a month and a half ago, we didn't use them. And I know that they are not the caliber of Derrick Henry. They're certainly not. I'm not comparing our running back room to even being close to what Derrick Henry brings. But when healthy, do you think we're going to utilize him appropriately? Because that to me would be the biggest question. While I'm excited, I'm happy, I'm thrilled that he's here. I want to make sure that my expectations are not out of sync. I want to make sure that I'm tailoring them to say, let's wait and see. Before I get too excited, let's wait and see what the Ravens have on deck for Derrick Henry. How is Todd Monken going to utilize him? Does Todd Monken know how to effectively gain the maximum from his skill set, from Derrick's skill set? Do we know that? Are we certain of that? So those are things that I'm watching out for. Songstress for real. I don't think the Ravens would pay a wide receiver $30 million. No, I agree. A year, and that's what Justin Jefferson is going to demand. He certainly is, and I could not dispute that. He's worth it. Justin Jefferson has demonstrated he is worth it. So no, D Weezy, thank you for coming. You can leave away alone. We were not talking about him. See, thank you, Black Daniel. See, he's just out here causing trouble, just being messy in the chat today, just being real messy. Super Bowl, yes. Yeah, we should have gotten D-Hop. Yeah, OBJ he just wasn't it. We should have really, really gone for D-Hop. And I'm mad that we didn't. I'm still bothered by that. D Weezy says a legitimate threat in the backfield should elevate the offense. Now, does Harbs, is he going to stick to it? That's a good point, D Weezy. And that's where I'm concerned. I do think that signing Derrick Henry potentially moves the needle. It elevates this offense. But it comes down to what our coaches do. It comes down to what Todd Monken does. It comes down to what Harbaugh ultimately does. That's going to determine whether this signing really, in fact, did that. Did it really boost us as an offense, or did we just kind of don't do much with him? So that's a concern for me. So we'll just have to wait and see. Absolutely, Levin. We have to solidify that offensive line to make us even really relevant, to make us even in the talks of making it back to the AFC Championship. Because I really feel like, and I don't want to keep harping on this, I'm going to stop soon, okay? I promise you in a couple of streams from now, I won't even mention it. But in that AFC Championship game, I really felt that was our year. I felt that we had all of the tools. We had everything. Was our team perfect? No, but no team is, right? Was our team equipped inwardly, just on paper? Did we have what it takes to actually win it all? I thought so. I did. And now with these other teams seeing what they're doing, they're shoring up their weaknesses. They're like we talked about, the Eagles are out here, the Jaguars, look what they're doing. So these teams are saying, listen, we need to fix some things. We need to get on right street. And I wonder if what we're doing is going to be enough. I wonder if what we're doing is going to be enough to make it back to the AFC Championship and ultimately lead this team to the Super Bowl, and not just get to the Super Bowl, because I don't want to just get to the Super Bowl and then just say, "Oh, we came in second place." I want to be able to say we won it all. I want to see all of you. I want to meet you guys at the parade when we have it. I want to, I want to do that. So that's kind of, that's kind of my thinking. That's kind of my thoughts. I don't want to get too excited just yet, but I am, I am getting somewhat happy about it. Not using Henry would be organizational suicide. Oh, I like the phraseology. If you all don't know, Black Daniels has such a way with words. It's just really how he puts together the English language is just remarkable. But yes, that's exactly what it would be. Organizational suicide. That's right. That's right. We still got, we get to the AFC Championship game, and then we have Gus and Justice and a ghost of Dalvin. Like, where was Dalvin Cook? Why did we sign him? I still don't get it. So, living legend. He said that Harbaugh sabotaged us like the Beastie Boys. I think Harbaugh, I'm not going to say that Harbaugh is a horrible coach. You're not going to hear me say that. I'm not. I just think that, at some point your time expires. At some point you've done all that you can do, and it's time to do something else. That's where I think Harbaugh is. That's kind of it. Yeah. Exactly. Where was Dalvin? I still don't know. I don't know. I have no clue. Jay the Six, thank you for coming. Please stop by Jay the Six. He has a channel and he does live streams. He does reviews of sneakers. And so if you are interested in that, he's a Panthers fan and he talks about his team with it. So, and D Weezy is a Panthers fan as well. And they talk lovingly about their team. So if you're interested in that, please make sure you go over and subscribe to Jay the Six. Excuse me. So. Harbs want to be a stepdaddy. We need a coach. We do. We do. We need a true leader. And I will be the first to admit that. Yes. Yeah. And Nana says the same thing. She's like, having Harbaugh there has cost us some games. I can't disagree with you. I can't disagree with you there. So that's why I say I think the time has come now. And chat, correct me if I'm wrong. This is the last year of Harbaugh's contract. I don't want to see Harbaugh as the coach after this next season. I'd really not. So. D Weezy said lovingly, this might be a stretch, but that's my team. I mean, yes. Do you get frustrated with your team and ineptitude and decisions that they make? Sure. I think all fans get mad at their team from time to time. But I mean, at least I see the Panthers are out there this offseason trying to do right. Are they really going to do right by your quarterback? Hopefully, but they're at least out here making some moves. So kudos to the Panthers for that. Last thing I'll touch on before I get out of here is the Ravens agreed to terms for a 1-year deal for backup QB Josh Johnson. Wasn't surprised there, but I am a little surprised that Snoop hasn't made his way back to our roster yet. But he's going to test out the free agency market. And from what I hear, the Eagles have called him. So that could be something to watch. That really could be something for us to take note, to see, do we think Snoop will be back next year or will he be on a different team? Thank you so much, Nisha C, for coming. And yes, please, if you are here and you're enjoying the content, hit the like button. And if you're new, welcome. Hit the subscribe button. And thank you for stopping by. Wow. Black Daniels said his team was offering Panthers tickets for $20 for the lower bowl. Well, let's see if it's this. Let's see if it's the same thing this year. I don't think so. I think the Panthers are going to do better this year. So we'll see. That is all I have for tonight. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming by and just talking with me about the latest transactions, as I call it, with these Baltimore Ravens. We'll see what happens through the rest of free agency. And yesterday, I give the grade. I didn't give a grade this morning. So for yesterday, us bringing in Derrick Henry, I think yesterday or the day before, certainly give that an A. The fact that we no longer have Morgan Moses, but we do have additional draft picks, or we moved up in the draft in one spot and then we gained a sixth round pick in another. That could be a positive. I know historically the Ravens love to acquire their draft picks, but if there is someone out there that we need to give away some draft picks, some draft capital to acquire in free agency, we need to be open to doing it. That's my thought. So, what transactions? I wish EDC would list. Yeah, look, I'm going to believe Jay the Sixth that we have something to look forward to. I'm going to hope that EDC knows what he's doing. We don't just get rid of Morgan Moses and then have a question mark like, now that he's gone, what do we do here? So I'm hoping that it's not going to be the case. Thank you, Living Legend. That's very kind. Yes, thanks so much. And keep pounding. That's right. For all of those who are Panthers fans, do that. Keep pounding. There we go. Gang, flock, thank you. Your support means a lot. I am excited, but trying to not become too excited about what we're doing. But let's keep it going, right? Let's just keep believing in our team and let's see what happens next. We still need a wide receiver. We have holes to fill on O-line, and we have a lot of free agents out there who, we're probably going to lose, and those will be holes that we'll need to fill as well. So we will talk next time, but until then, you all take care, stay safe, God bless, and as always, go Ravens. God bless you. Take care.